Hey everybody, this is Oleg, and this is episode number 2 of Real Estate with Oleg. And on today's episode, we're talking about, do I need to sell my home before I buy my next home? And we're talking about some law between tenants and landlords. So let's cover the first topic. Do I need to sell before I buy my next home? Ideally, you would like to sell your home and then buy your home in the same day and move right in from the house to the house. Right? You don't want to sell your home, go rent for a couple months, and then find a buy and buy the house. Right? Um, this would be the easier situation in terms of getting financing. Sometimes it gets tricky when you are selling and trying to buy because the bank has to protect themselves, the one that's giving you a loan for your next purchase. They will have to calculate as if you were to carry two mortgages, because if in case something happens with your sale of your house and something happens and your transactions falls apart, you'll be able to carry two mortgages for some period of time. So they will always try to calculate. And in case you can't, then they won't be able to give you that pre-approval for your next home. But my recommendation for somebody who's trying to sell and move to the next home would be, first put your house on the market, see what kind of activity you're getting, and see if it's likely to sell soon. And in the same time, start looking for the next house. But the first step is put the house on the market, get the house ready, put it on the market, get it going, and see what the activity is, and slowly start looking for a next house. And then once you put the house under contract, let's say you found a buyer who's ready to go, who wants to buy a home, give yourself 60 days, maybe 45 days. If you haven't picked the house you want to buy yet, chances are you haven't. And so you give yourself 45 to 60 days, and hopefully everything goes smooth and you will transition to your next home. Scenario number 2 is sometimes people start looking for the home first and then they put their home on the market. The problem in this one is when you look for the house and you found one, and you write an offer and you say, hey, I like a house, but this is contingency. I have to sell to get the money and then I'll buy. Usually sellers don't like that contingency. If you're going to purchase a house and you're giving me the contingency that you need the money from a sale of your house and that house is still not on the market, it may be months and months, so it's a risky one. I at least want to see it on the market and preferably on the contract and maybe closing soon. That would be the best. So that's a situation you might be putting yourself in. And when you find that house and the seller says, sorry, no, I mean, you have to put your house on the market. And then you start rushing and you're putting a house and underpricing, and that's just the wrong start. The right start is to put a house on the market, slowly market it, slowly selling it, and in the same time looking for the next house. So let's talk about some tenant and landlord law. For those who follow me on Instagram, I think like a week ago, I posted an article from one of the websites that a lady didn't want to rent her house to a Muslim family, and she got fined for $600,000 or something. And because she was violating a law, because there is a law, fair housing, that you can't discriminate based on race, sex, religion, children. There is a limit on amount of people that can live in the bedroom. In a lot of states, it's a little different. In a lot of cities, it's a little different, but there is a limit on that. Some people also have a dog that's keeping them emotionally healthy, and they have documents on that from a doctor. You can't discriminate against that. You can't say no dogs, and if the person comes with a document on that dog, you say, I'm sorry, you can't. You have to accept it. So there's a Fair Housing Act, and there is a Credit Reporting Act, which means that if you are screening your tenants, if you're a landlord and you're screening a tenant and you're getting their reports, you'll see all the credit scores, you'll see all the balances. And if you share that information, it's illegal. You can't share that information. So those are two laws. Basically, you can't discriminate, and then you can't share their credit information. Regarding security deposit, let's say if it's a condo or a house in Chicago, you have to have a separate interest-bearing account where you put security deposit, and any interest that accumulates in that account on that amount will have to be distributed to the tenant when he or she moves out. You have 30 days to issue the security deposit back, and with that interest. It's not going to be much. It's probably going to be a couple cents. If it's 1 year, maybe $1. And if it's 20 years, there could be some money in it, but it has to be separate interest-bearing account. Some privacy laws are written on a lease that the owner should be giving a tenant 24-hour notice before entering the premises. Some owners like to go there very often, which is not a violation, but the tenant should be notified, unless the tenant is okay with a landlord coming in. But that is written in a lease. Make sure you have that 7-page lease, not just one you download from Google with a 1-page. If you need any leases, let me know. There's a standard leases, like 7-page long. It has all the paragraphs that's covering yours and the other side's interest. The tenant fills out the lease first, landlord second. Always. Because if landlord fills out the lease, gives it to the tenant takes it home, changes its mind, then landlord looks for another person, signs a lease with them, and then this person signs, the first person signs, and you have 2 leases that are completely signed. So first tenant signs the lease, brings security deposit, brings first month rent, and then the landlord accepts it, signs it, exchanges the keys, then the lease officially started. So that's going to be it for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. For the next one, I'll come up with a different topic, but maybe I'll have a lender with me for the next one. All right, thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.